Tom Poberezny's breadth of aviation experience is overwhelming. From being a world-class aerobatic pilot, a youth aviation mentor, president and chairman of one of the world's largest aviation organizations and gatherings. Tom's impact on this industry is immense.
First, Tom was not just a great acrobatic pilot, he was a world champion. And think about this, he learned to fly, won an acrobatic championship before he was married, and he was still flying at a world-class level when their daughter Leslie was in college. EAA has been his family. Tom Poberezny was and is EAA.
The vision behind Spaceship One White Knight, Bert Rattan. Let's welcome Bert.
Oshkosh 85 Concorde cap to prove that it really came, so John, you got to change uniforms.
So this is a very special year for all of us, and I hope that this program and this convention becomes one of the highlights of the 50-year history of EAA.
It is EAA's membership goal to give 1 million kids an airplane ride starting today at Oshkosh 92.
Ultimately picked Oshkosh, so that it was the home of the convention and the museum and our headquarters, and our goal is to make it the world's capital for aviation.
Ladies and gentlemen, 25 years of excellence. In the middle, Charlie Hillard, off to your right, Gene Soucy, and off to your left, Tom Poberezny.
Tom Poberezny, right wing.
Art, we're going to tie all three of the airplanes together with chains today.
Back in January, when the A320 took off from LaGuardia, struck birds and it was loss of power, Jeff and his fellow pilot, Sully Sullenberger, saved hundreds of lives.
For 34 years, Tom Poberezny served as chairman, visionary, architect, and acknowledged leader of this greatest of all aviation gatherings. For 22 years, he served as CEO and chairman of the Experimental Aircraft Association, the 180,000-member worldwide organization that gave birth to the event known around the world as Oshkosh.
EAA started in the basement of our home, and I grew up thinking that people always came to your home on Friday night and went in the basement and met for 3 or 4 hours, talked about airplanes, and left and came back the next week. And it wasn't just the meetings in the basement of our home, but my dad was an avid home builder.
Tom was determined to chart his own course.
When in the 60s it started to develop into a true business, there was probably an expectation that I would become a part of it and so on, and I actually kind of fought that because I didn't want to do something that was expected as opposed to something I wanted to do.
Then, a completely unexpected event occurred that set the tone for Tom's career. He was introduced to competition aerobatics. In fact, he skipped his college graduation ceremony so he could fly in his first aerobatic contest.
Foregoing my graduation at Northwestern was a signal to me that being an engineer is not what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Through aerobatics, he was ready to commit to a life in aviation on his own terms. He told his father he would go to work for EAA for 6 months, but he stayed for 42 years. In the 1970s, Tom's decision to work for EAA, coupled with his emergence as a world-class aerobatic pilot, shaped his professional future. In 1972, he qualified as a member of the United States men's aerobatic team that competed for a world championship in Salon de Provence in France. To raise money for the trip, he and teammates Charlie Hillard and Gene Soucy formed an airshow act, the Red Devils, launching an airshow career that would last 25 years. In France, the team indeed won the World Championship. The following year, Tom also won the individual U.S. National Men's Unlimited Aerobatic Championship.
But the thing that probably in my aerobatic career that meant the most is winning the 1973 U.S. Aerobatic Championships, defeating other pilots that I had competed with and became the best of the best for that particular year. The thing I remember most was at the banquet that night, I said, maybe from this point on, Paul Poberezny would be known as Tom Poberezny's father rather than Tom Poberezny being known as Paul Poberezny's son.
Following the championships, Tom went on to perform in air shows as a member of the most famous of the civilian formation aerobatic teams, the Eagles. They performed flawlessly together for 25 years. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame of the International Council of Airshows in 2009.
As I worked my way up the ladder at EAA in terms of leadership, convention, president, chairman, etc., what gave me credibility was my aerobatic flying.
In the 70s, Tom also became chairman of EAA AirVenture Oshkosh. Under his leadership, it would grow into the world's premier aviation event.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Southern California, America's band, the Beach Boys!
And he began an executive career that would lead to him becoming CEO and board chairman of the Experimental Aircraft Association and an internationally recognized leader in aviation. One of his first major challenges was overseeing the design, fundraising, and construction of the EAA Aviation Center on the Oshkosh Convention site.
We embarked upon a $10 million campaign, which was tremendous for amount of money for that time frame. Raised the money and started the museum, broke ground in Here's the other thing. We broke ground at Oshkosh 82 and opened the doors 11 months later at Oshkosh 83.
For the next 28 years of Tom's career, the EAA Aviation Center served as the incubator of some of the most far-sighted and successful programs in American aviation.
I'm very proud of my tenure at EAA and the fact that we always are looking to the future, whether it's developing new aircraft designs, innovative designs, improving the event, but more importantly, reaching out to the future generations of aviators. The program that did the most for that was Young Eagles. The program was initiated in the early 1990s, and if you think about that, 1 million kids, you had to fly about 90,000 kids a year, every year. And our first chairman was Cliff Robertson, and then it was General Chuck Yeager, and Chuck took us to the first million prior to December 17th of 2003. A very proud moment for all of us.
Young Eagles was not EAA's only youth outreach program. Tom's vision led to the next project, which was the EAA Air Academy, a live-in camp for young people aged 13 through 18, held right there on the EAA grounds.
It sparked their passion, and many have come back many years after that to share the stories of their aviation careers as airline pilots or engineers or aircraft designers or maintenance technicians.
Nothing during Tom Poberezny's tenure as CEO and chairman of EAA did more to reinforce the great American tradition of the citizen aviator than the enactment of the FAA regulations known as Sport Pilot Light Sport Aircraft. Thousands of Americans who might have given up on their dreams are now flying because of these regulations. In 1974, the EAA Fly-In Convention was a relatively small event, and once again, unexpected events would change all of that.
I took over chairmanship in the mid-'70s. I wish I could tell you that I had a plan and knew that it was going to become what we know today as AirVenture Oshkosh, but we just worked year to year in terms of expanding and meeting people's needs, everything from the expansion of the campsite to camping on the airport. And now that I can look back over time, there were probably 3 or 4 milestone events that made Oshkosh what it is today. One was the appearance of the Concorde. That was extremely important to our credibility. The next thing was when we had the 25th anniversary of Apollo. We had all the Apollo astronauts come to Oshkosh, Wisconsin to share their feats in space with homebuilders and so forth.
Another transformative AirVenture Oshkosh event was the presentation of Burt Rutan's White Knight space delivery vehicle and Spaceship One. It was the first ever successful manned civilian spacecraft. Rutan, a pioneering aircraft designer, openly credits Tom and EAA for fostering the environment that made home builders the first civilian space travelers.
And so what started to happen is that people were looking to Oshkosh as the place where innovation of all types took place. Aircraft of all sizes, the A380 Airbus, went came to Oshkosh. But more importantly, Oshkosh became the home for people who are passionate about aviation. Whenever you mention Oshkosh, people will say, well, who was there? We've had everybody from John Denver to Harrison Ford to John Kennedy Jr. and great people, passionate about flying and so forth. The thing I'll remember the most is the people I worked with, the people I met, who would meet every challenge, who were innovative and creative and committed and passionate and respected each other and built relationships that kept bringing them back year after year after year. I guess everybody is asked a question at some point in time, what's your style, how do you approach things and so forth, and I don't see myself as a natural. I wasn't a natural pilot. I wasn't a natural athlete. I wasn't a natural engineer. I had to work hard at each of those things. What I did find is I had the ability to be somewhat creative and innovative and come up with unexpected ideas. And even to the point of creating an event in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, I became aviation's premier event, totally unexpected. That's what Oshkosh is all about, a muscle memory of culture that allows people to work together as a team to accomplish things that couldn't be done any other way. I wouldn't have enjoyed the success that I had with EAA and my aviation life without the support of my wife Sharon and my daughter Leslie. Because doing what I did caused me to be away from home quite a bit, engaged fully in aviation, so they had to be part of it also. They didn't have a choice to a certain extent. But their support and participation was important to me because we did it together, we did it as a family, and EAA is a family organization.
Since his retirement from EAA, Tom Poberezny has remained every bit as active in aviation and business as he was for the past 4 decades.
Since I retired from EAA and have gone into this new role that I've got, I've realized the importance of what mentoring really is in terms of the value of experience and sharing experience with others.
He has served as a member of the board of Garmin Limited and chair of its compensation committee, as advisor to the CEO of Cirrus Aircraft, as vice president of events and programs for the Citation Jet Pilots Association, and as consultant to Angel Flight West, the not-for-profit volunteer flight service organization.
As I reflect back on a special moment is now. The special moment is now that I am able to reflect back on my career. And when I get letters from people, or people say they go to Oshkosh every year and it's had a big impact on their life, or they tell a story about when they used to take their son to Oshkosh or their daughter in camp, I didn't realize when I was going on how many people's lives were impacted by going to Oshkosh every year, how many families and so forth. And it makes me very proud, it makes me feel good. You can't help but get nostalgic, but the thing is that as you move on in life, you find that other things are other priorities, and so it's not so much nostalgia, it's pride.
Accepting the medal is Tom Poberezny. Hall of Fame President Coelho joins enshrinees Meyer and Clapmeyer in presenting the Medal of Honor, enshrining Tom Poberezny into the National Aviation Hall of Fame.